Okay, episode number 4 out of the Park Baseball 18 with the Miami Marlins. So in the last episode, we did the draft and we simulated up past the All-Star game, and now we are in the unofficial second half of this season. Your Marlins 34 and 54. We are in the cellar of the National League East, 14 games back of the New York Mets, and in the wild card, we are not even close. We're not even within 10 games. So it's safe to say that we're not making the playoffs this year, as I said in the last episode. And at this point, I don't even think we can turn this thing around to finish 500. And in the last episode, I asked you guys for suggestions on what I should do at the deadline. Obviously, that is about 2 weeks away, give or take. So I asked you guys for suggestions, and a lot of you, you kind of echoed the same thing. Just, try to trade for some young talent, find a way to improve that pitching rotation, because outside of Conley, there's not really anyone. You have Urena, but we'll have to see how he does, in extended time. Volquez has turned it around, which is good, but a 4.39 ERA, you'd like a little more than that. And, I did get some suggestions. I got a suggestion to trade Giancarlo Stanton, and at some point, I wouldn't be against that, but right now, I just don't think I'm going to do that. And the thing that makes it a little harder, his contract, it is kind of an albatross, especially for a guy that not only has performed the way he has this year, but the past couple years he still has the power, but that contract kind of is an albatross, so it makes it a little more difficult to trade him. I shopped him around, and the only 1-for-1 trade that came up was for Jacoby Ellsbury. So it's gonna be difficult to get anything of value for Stan without eating at least some of that contract. But we'll see. Maybe in the future this is a guy that we trade, but for right now we're gonna keep Stanton on the roster. But I looked through the roster, and I did find some guys that I would be willing to part with here at the deadline. So I really don't want to blow this up because I don't know if that would be realistic. But I'm definitely willing to trade a guy like Marcell Ozuna, a Danny Hechavarria, Derek Dietrich, even D. Gordon if we got the right offer for him. Martin Prado for sure, because he already said he wanted to be traded because he wants to be on a contender. So I would definitely look into trading Prado, and Suzuki. Look into trading, just to get him on a contending team, one last shot at a World Series, because that's definitely not going to happen here in his time. And pitching-wise, I would not be against, trading Ramos. He, is a 30-year-old closer. Get what you can get for him at this point, because, maybe his value will never be higher. Who knows? A guy like Kyle Barraclough, for the right price. We've seen in the past several years what relief pitchers go for on the trade market at the deadline. So, for the right price, I would definitely look into trading a guy like Barraclough as well. David Phelps, maybe he's having a solid year. He's 30 years old too, so I wouldn't be against that. But yeah, obviously I'm not going to trade any starters because I have none to trade. So that's that. Now, the thing working against us, if we go to finances, you see, we only have $3.3 million available. So, one, that's why we couldn't sign any international free agents. But two, that's why, signing any free agents, getting someone off the waiver wire or making a trade, it's just a little more difficult. We really don't have the money to do a lot of stuff right now because, I'm used to taking over teams with higher payrolls. Like we did the Angels last year. I'll do the Phillies. Normally those budgets are way up, in the 180s, the 190s, sometimes, even in the low 200s. But right now I'm dealing with a budget that's 20th in the league at $130 million. I only have roughly $3 million to work with. So it's definitely a new challenge, something I'm usually not, I usually don't have to worry about, but with this team I do. So taking a look at the schedule. So the trade deadline, as I mentioned, 2 weeks away. So we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series until the deadline. We have a 6-game homestand here against the Dodgers and the Phillies, and then we are on a 6-game road trip against the Reds and the Texas Rangers before coming back home to face the Cincinnati Reds. So I think I'm going to simulate up until about this Thursday, July 27th period, and I think that's when I'm going to start looking into, maybe some moves that I can do. So I'll come back with you guys around this July 27th period, somewhere around here. Okay, we're here. It is July 28th, so I kind of wanted to just play out that July 27th game, just, kind of because I wanted to give the, just in case people are traded, I wanted to give them like one last game in front of our home crowd, and, good for them. It was a win, so the guys that are going to get traded soon, at least they're going out with a W, but I think I'm definitely making some trades today, July 28th. It's been a rough start to the second half of the season. We've only won 3 games since the All-Star break. Now we're sitting at 37 and 64. So definitely not finishing 500 this year. That goal is out of the window. So we are definitely going to make some trades here. I think the first guy I'm going to look to trade is Hechavarria just to see what I can get for him. If I can get like any type of adequate starting pitcher that I can put in the rotation in place of a guy like Straley or a guy like Volquez, I'm definitely going to look into doing that. Barraclough is really not so he just had a very bad outing against the Rangers that made his ERA balloon. Wow. That is a shame, but okay. So you see it was a 218, now it's a 290. Ouch. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm definitely going to look into trading Hechavarria for some type of a starting pitcher. So I'm going to just cut out here because I don't want to waste so much time just trying to find the perfect trade. So I'll cut out, and when I find a good trade to make, then I'll come back and explain my mindset and my reasoning to you guys. Because as I mentioned, I want this to be realistic, so I'm not going to trade Hechavarria for, a really good starting pitcher or something. I want this to be realistic, so I'll explain my mindset to you guys when I get back. Okay, so I am finally back. So I made a couple of trades, and I think I'm going to make a couple more before the deadline passes, but I figured I'd talk about the trades I made. So the first one I made, I sent a Danny Hechavarria, Felipe Gonzalez, and Alex Glenn to the Oakland Athletics for 2 younger prospects, 20-year-old right-handed pitcher Skylar Zinski and 23-year-old minor league center fielder Sky Bolt. So I was taking a look at the Athletics. They didn't really have a lot of infielders outside of Marcus Semien, so I figured they could use a Danny Hechavarria. They're kind of still in the playoff race. They're only about 7 games back as of right now, so perhaps the addition of Hechavarria will help the team out. Now, I wanted to try to get some prospects out of this deal, so I looked at Skylar Zinski. He was the best pitcher that I could have gotten, I think. You see, he has a neutral ground ball to fly ball tendency. Both OSA and our head scout, they're pretty high on him. So I think this guy can turn out to be a pretty solid addition to the team. Now, he's only 20 years old. He's in the Dominican Rookie League right now, so we probably won't see him for a while. But I think he could definitely end up being one of the main cogs of our rotation in a few years. So I got him. Then I got Sky Bolt, one because of the name. I mean, you can't not have a name like Sky Bolt and be good. So I decided to get Sky Bolt. Now, OSA is a little higher on him than my head scout, but regardless, I think he could also be a solid addition to the team. He's done fairly well the past couple of years this year in the minor league. You see, he started at A ball, now he's in advanced A, and he's done solid there in those 2 trips. So right now with us, he's in the Dominican Rookie League. We're just going to start him there for right now. But I think this guy, if nothing else, I think he could end up being a solid backup. But I'm kind of hoping that he develops a little more as per what OSA is saying. But regardless, I decided to get him. He definitely improves our farm system for sure. Now, Felipe Gonzalez and Alex Glenn, they were never going to be anything. You see how Gonzalez was just a half-star pitcher. Glenn, a 26-year-old who was in, I believe, so he was in Double-A as a 26-year-old, and he wasn't doing very well. So I figured he was not going to have a spot on our team. So I decided to trade him, and Hechavarria, I had to retain all of his salary because Oakland was going to go over their budget. But hopefully he does well in Oakland. It was nice while he was here. But you see, he did well for us, right? So he hit 272, 327, 419, 6 triples, very good defensively, close to a 3-win player, most of that because of his defense. So it was nice while Hechavarria was here. Wish him the best in Oakland, but I feel that I made a solid trade given the circumstances. Now, the second trade I made, the bigger trade I made, was a 1-for-1 trade. So I traded 28-year-old second baseman Derek Dietrich to the Mets for right-handed pitcher Zach Wheeler. So if you take a look at the Mets, Wheeler really got knocked out of the rotation because of Syndergaard, DeGrom, Matz, Harvey, and Selman. So there wasn't really a spot for Wheeler in the rotation anymore. And his expectation, he wanted to be in the starting rotation. But with a rotation like that, and if there wasn't an injury, he was never going to crack that rotation. So I decided to trade for him. If you take a look at his statistics, we need an ace, and I really think that this guy, at least for the next couple of years, could definitely be that ace that we're looking for, especially with the hole that Fernandez left this team, unfortunately. I think Wheeler definitely, right now, he's going to step in and become our best starter for sure. So I'm really excited to have a pitcher like Wheeler. He's definitely going to help out the rotation. Now, Dietrich, it was tough to trade him, right? He was one of our better offensive guys. You see, he was slashing 257, 347, 478. He was OPSing over 800, 11 home runs, 18 doubles, 31 RBIs. But I decided to trade him because looking at the Mets, outside of David Wright, they really don't have any third baseman in the system. So I figured, whenever Wright starts to, I don't want to say decline, but whenever, he retires, at least the Mets have an alternative in Derek Dietrich, who they can put at third base. They can also put this guy at second base until their second base prospect Jimenez is ready. So I think that this was a good trade for us. We got our pitcher that we're looking for, and if you take a look at the pitching staff, Wheeler is actually slotted to go today versus Cincinnati against Jake Odorizzi. So I guess Odorizzi got traded to Cincinnati at some point. But, I was pretty happy about that trade. As I mentioned, I think I'm going to make a couple more trades before the deadline passes. I'd like to trade Prado. I would like to trade Suzuki. And if there's an offer for D. Gordon out there, I'll trade him. I think I'm going to hold off on trading Ozuna until the offseason. I looked into offers for him, but I kind of, I don't feel comfortable trading him right now. The same thing with Stan. I don't feel comfortable trading him right now. So I'm going to look at offers for guys like Prado and Suzuki and then go from there. I called up this guy, Ryan Jackson, just to fill the void for a backup infielder. He can play second, third, and short, but I also have him at first base. You see, he's really good defensive, really good range, air, arm, double play ratings, and he's seen as a leader in the clubhouse, and he's intelligent on and off the field, very popular in the clubhouse as well. So even though he's not good offensively, at this point in the season, we are, close to 30 games under 500. As long as he's good defensively, that's all I care about, which is why I called him up. So that is that. So I'm just going to simulate up ahead a couple days, and then I will let you guys know if I find any suitable offers for guys like Prado and Suzuki. Okay, so it is July 29th. I think I finished making all the trades that I wanted to. If we take a look at the lineups, I'm going to hold off on trading guys like D. Gordon and Marcell Ozuna until the offseason. I think that's just the smart thing to do. I don't feel comfortable trading them right now, as with Barraclough and AJ Ramos. So having said that, I want to just go through the 3 trades that I made, and then we will get on with the simulation. So the first trade I made was actually offered to me. I got Alexi Amarista from the Colorado Rockies for a minor league catcher, 26 years old, in our system that was never really going to amount to anything, which is good because now I needed not only a good utility infielder, but someone that could play at third base, and you'll see why in a bit. So I got Alexi Amarista. He can play a lot of positions, solid speed, solid defensive ratings. The bat's not, all that good, but I'll take it, and he has a really good contract. He's only making $1.1 million this year, and we can buy him out at the end of this year too, because I doubt we're going to keep him. So, he'll help us out until the end of the year, but after that, he'll probably be gone. I also traded Ichiro Suzuki to the Dodgers. They're one of the best teams in baseball right now, so I figured they would give him the best chance to, or one of the best chances to win a ring before he retires. And I just traded him for this starting pitcher. He was, a 1.5 star guy. You can't really expect to get a lot for a 43-year-old right fielder, even, someone of Ichiro's status. So I traded him to the Dodgers, so we're going to have to follow the postseason. Hopefully Ichiro gets his ring. And the final trade I made, I traded Martin Prado to the San Francisco Giants. I also traded some lower-level minor league guys in our system to the Giants for 18-year-old minor league right-handed pitcher Yan Herrera, who seems like he could be pretty solid, as well as a 24-year-old minor league pitcher Tyler Beede. So I really think that these guys, and I will be retaining 40% of Prado's remaining contract. It was really difficult to trade this guy because if you look at his contract, he's going to be making a lot of money, especially in 2019. He's going to be making $15 million as a guy in his mid-30s. So I decided to retain some of that salary and help get the trade done, so that is good. So I think we definitely got some intriguing prospects here at the deadline. Now, what I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to go ahead, simulate until September, and go from there. So we can see where this team's at in September, and hopefully we can get the season done in this episode. All right, so it's September 1st. You missed a lot, so basically everything that possibly could have gone wrong with this team, it went wrong. So Zach Wheeler, he's going to be out for the next 8 to 9 months with a torn labrum on his shoulder, obviously. So that kind of sucks. So that kind of left a big hole in our rotation. Obviously, Ziegler, he's going to be out for another 8 months. Ozuna is going to be out for 4 to 5 more weeks with a fractured rib. Giancarlo Stanton's going to be out for another 3 weeks with a fractured thumb. Justin Nicolino is going to be out for another week or 2 with some elbow inflammation. And Miguel Rojas, he is day-to-day for 3 days. So everyone got injured on this team, basically, at some point or another. So yeah, August was a rough month. So now looking at our pitching staff, we now have Adam Conley, Wei Yin Chen, Edinson Volquez, Odrisamer Despain and Jose Urena. Dan Straley is in the bullpen. Tom Kohler's in the bullpen. Jeff Locke, I might end up putting him in the rotation at some point. I don't know. Looking at the lineups, it is awful. We have D. Gordon, Christian Yelich, JT Realmuto, Justin Bour, and then a bunch of garbage. So it's been tough, for sure. It's been tough. So I'm just going to simulate up ahead until the end of the season, and we'll see how the team ended up doing. So one more month, and then this nightmare season will finally be over. We're definitely going to finish last. I received a personal message. So let's see here. Okay, so Nicolino's going to be out for... Okay, so Nicolino's going to be out for a while, unfortunately. So that's that. So I'm going to simulate up until October 1st. We'll see how the team ended up doing. And, who knows? Maybe we can... I think the goal should be 60 wins at this point, so we'll see if we can reach 60. All right, so the nightmare season is finally over. We avoided losing 100 games, which is good. We finished 63 and 99. So as you see, Giancarlo Stanton got injured again. Ozuna, he's going to be out for another 6 weeks. He had an issue with his recovery. D. Gordon got injured. So just a very, very rough season for the Miami Marlins. 63 and 99, 31 games back in the NL East. I imagine very far back in the wild card as well. I don't even want to look. But it's a very tough season for sure. So if we take a look at just how the team did, that's not what I want. Let's start with the lineup. So if we go to start by OPS, let's see. So I called Brandon Barnes up. He did all right. So Christian Yelich, definitely our best offensive guy this season. He had 17 home runs. He slashed 284, 345, 433. OPS close to 800. He was a 3.4 win player. Still 17 bases. He was caught 9 times, though. Definitely our best offensive threat all year round. He played 157 games, so good for him. Matt Den Decker in 52 games started. He did okay. I have him more in the roster for defense, but, he did all right with the stick. JT Realmuto, solid season. He had 264, had close to 10 home runs, 111 strikeouts to 28 walks. That's a little ugly, but what are you going to do? Nobody on this team really OPS'd over 700. There were 3 guys, and 2 of them had limited playing time, so the offense just did not do very well this year. Justin Bour hit 24 home runs. He was the leader. Stanton hit 18 home runs, but albeit with a 179 average and 287 OBP. So I imagine his value is going to keep dropping, unfortunately, and just a big, huge, it's awful performance this year by the offense. Pitching-wise, Adam Conley did good, and the rest did not do very well. Wei Yin Chin did okay, I suppose, but that was about it. Despain did horrible. Urena was clearly not ready. Nicolino clearly not ready. Volquez, awful. Looking at the bullpen, Ramos regressed as the season went on. Barraclough did okay, so that's good. Phelps had a solid season. Tazawa did well also, which is nice to see. And Nick Whitgren, that guy we called up very early in the season, solid season for him. He's definitely going to be in the bullpen next year, but Straley was awful. Cervenka, I don't know if he's going to be here next year. Kohler, he got better as time went on, so I guess he'll be back next year. But overall, just a very, very bad season for the Miami Marlins. You see, we finished 15th in runs scored, 14th in batting average, 14th in OBP, 15th in home runs, 9th in stolen bases, 11th in runs against, 14th in starters ERA, 3rd in bullpen ERA, and 12th in defensive efficiency in the National League. So just awful season. Thankful that it is finally over and we don't have to worry about it anymore. The only place to go at this point is up, which is good. So taking a look at the team history here. So our Pythagorean win-loss was 63 and 99. So we didn't get lucky or unlucky. This team is horrible. So this is the worst record we've posted since 2013 when the team went 62 and 100. And our playoff drought will continue, not surprisingly, but it will continue for another season. Team ERA of 4.43, team average of 2.44. Just awful year. No way else to put it. Just a very bad year. But that'll do it for episode number 4. And episode number 5, we'll take a look at how the playoffs go, and we will start the off season. Maybe trade some guys, sign some guys for sure, and hopefully try to improve this team enough to be competitive next year, because we certainly were not this year. But anyway, everyone, thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow in episode number 5. Enjoy the rest of your day.